Hello and good evening. Thank you for joining us this evening. Where I'm going to share with you still issues that are related to corporate governance. This particular topic that I want to discuss with you today, I had actually not intended for this evening. I had something else in mind, and yet I've been struck by this particular one today, and I thought that I could go ahead and share my views with you regarding to this particular issue. Now, a friend of mine today sent to me some information regarding, unfortunately, a citizen who wanted to sue a church institution, subsidiary institution for that matter, just to seek for my views here and here going forward. But there is something yet, because this communication that he shared with me was actually a communication from the High Court, intent to sue this church-founded institution. But it had something that I thought is relevant, that maybe one of you or two could have something to pick from going forward. It was basically a communication from the court, intent to sue, as I told you. It had the heading, "The Republic of Uganda in the High Court of Uganda at Kampala, civil suit number blah 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 blah," and then they mentioned there the name of the plaintiff versus the now this particular one, which is next in this communication, is actually what caught my attention and picked out an issue that I think I could go ahead to share with you. It says versus the registered trustees of the church. I'll skip what's next, but in the brackets they put XX. Of course, I'm skipping that also. XX diocese, and it says the defendant, and the title is "Someone to File Defense." I think I'll save you all the other details that are going forward. But there is a particular thing that I want to pick on from here. We can and share with you my view. So just to mention in passing that, number one, the church itself as an institution is a registered entity in the laws of this country, the supreme law of the land. So the legal framework of this country requires that churches, denominations register as entities such that they are identified as juridical entities in the framework, legal framework of this country. That is one thing that I clearly want to mention in passing. When anything is registered under the legal framework of a particular country, it means that, one, it subscribes to that law of the land. And therefore, the implication when it comes to subsidiary institutions of the church, or the church are the institutions that the church puts in place, the law requires that, and I'll read, I think, verbatim straight from the from this act, section 1, I think, part 3, where it says, "The trustees or trustee shall thereupon become a body corporate by the name described in the certificate." I'll talk briefly about that certificate. "And shall have perpetual succession and a common seal, and power to sue and be sued in the corporate name." Now, I'll stop it there. What I wanted to pick from here is that the church, for example, has trustees. When I say church, now I refer to different denominations of the church, or the faith as we know them. I'll take an example, the Church of Uganda. The Church of Uganda has registered trustees according to the law or legal framework of this country, or according to this act and what I've just read to you. Now, for example, by administration, we know that the church in itself has administrative structures. And these include, for example, if Church of Uganda, you're talking about for example, the dioceses, blah, blah, blah. But I want to stick with these two. So they exist, for example, for the Church of Uganda, for that matter. but also the way the church works through these administrative structures like the diocese is that the diocese almost operate in a semi-autonomous form. And that could be explained by so many things. But on this particular issue, what I want to talk about is that, for example, if a church or a diocese wants to start a hospital, okay, the synod council or something take a resolution to start that hospital or to start an orphanage or something like that. And it also means that when it comes to the ownership of this subsidiary institution, therefore, yes, it is owned by the Church of Uganda, and this is where the word trustship comes in, because trustees mean it just simply ownership. It is by the Church of Uganda, for example, but when it comes to who owns it exactly, it's the diocese on behalf of the Church of Uganda. And what does this mean? It means that when it comes to the trustship of this subsidiary institution, yes, we are talking about the Church of Uganda, but in this case also we are lowering it down to the founding diocese of the subsidiary institution. And therefore, almost by extension, what the legal framework requires is that even at the diocesan level, there should be registered trustees of these subsidiary institutions. That is what I read, for example, from this communication. Listen carefully. It says, versus the registered trustees of the church, blah, 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 and in brackets they put XX diocese. The implication of this, and we have, for those of you who have attended our trainings in corporate governance, we have always, that is for the faith-based institutions, for example, we have always emphasized the need to have trustees at diocesan level. Now, most times these trustees are assumed, but what this communication or what the law recognizes, for example, this communication is from the High Court. What it recognizes, it says the registered trustees, not assumed trustees. And this has a legal implication. When you match it or marry it with what the Act talks about, that is Section 1, Part 3 of the Act, which says, the trustees or trustee shall thereupon become a body corporate by the name described in the certificate. It means that the trustees are registered, not assumed, and they are given or issued what we call a trustship incorporation certificate by the minister. I think it's Minister of Internal Affairs. So therefore, they have to be trusted. I mean, they have to be registered, not just assumed. And that, unfortunately, as I mentioned, in this case, it was somebody was intending to sue the church. But it could also be an instance where the church intends to sue somebody or an entity for whichever reason it is. So the key question that we have here, we have to address is that if we came to that point, for example, if we are forced to come to that point, I know suing is not it's not something that church institutions like doing, but if we come to that point, let's assume somebody is suing us and the courts of law want to us to defend ourselves. The question is, are you recognized by the law under which you're going to file your defense? And therefore, a smart practitioner would ask if you are an assumed trustee or a registered one issued with a trustship incorporation certificate. So if you're close to the church leadership at that level or any other level, or if you are a manager of a subsidiary institution that has been founded by the church, the question is, if you ever have to come at a point where you're suing or you're going to be sued and you have to file a defense or something, are the trustees, are the owners of those subsidiary institutions recognized by law through formal registration? That's my food for thought for today. Thanks for watching. God bless you.